It's Jim McGuinn for Teenage Kicks, and this week we're talking about the band Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark. It's an English group that got their start in the late 1970s. It's mainly built around two guys, Andy McCluskey and Paul Humphreys, bass and vocals and keyboards in the band pretty much for the entire history of the group. And going back to the mid-70s, even at a young age, they had decided they didn't really like the macho guitar rock thing. So when they discovered bands like Kraftwerk on the scene in the late 70s, they found their inspiration, and they became one of the first electro-pop bands out of the UK, and they released their debut album February 22nd, 1980. That's what we're going to pay tribute to this week on Teenage Kicks. Now, they ended up being a huge influence on another young band at the time, Depeche Mode, who after they heard OMD had their aha moment, and their first single came out about a year after this OMD record. Of course, Depeche Mode became a massive worldwide phenomenon in the years to follow, and actually OMD did pretty well for themselves. Their first records, you can definitely hear the Kraftwerk electro-pop sound. Now, if you're an American, you might know them more for the John Hughes pop song, If You Leave, that was in one of those John Hughes movies. And that's how I think a lot of people may be associated with OMD. But when OMD was back on the road in the 2010s, they started playing those early sounds, and people had their own aha moment going, oh, wait a minute, this is actually like a really cool minimalist electronic band. And they would sometimes self-deprecatingly at the shows say, all right, here's our Hollywood moment, and then they go into If You Leave. So this week we're going to go back to that early sound from Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark. It is OMD, 40 years since the release of their debut album, and we'll celebrate it this week on Teenage Kicks. One of the things I love on Teenage Kicks is when I get to play ukulele on a song that has probably never been played on a ukulele, like this one, some early OMD. It's the song Electricity, and it's really kind of a classic chord structure too, if you hear this one. So it goes, one source of energy, electricity, all we need to live today, a gift from man to throw away, the chance for change is nearly gone, the alternative is only one, the final source of energy, solar electricity. They were so far ahead of their time, they were singing about solar energy back in 1980. It's OMD this week on Teenage Kicks.